Good day, good day, good day, and welcome to another episode of Drew's Book Reviews. It is the end of February. Let's talk about how my reading went in February. What did I read? How's my reading challenge going this year? Stay tuned, that's coming up here on Drew's Book Reviews. All right. Let's talk about how February went for this month's reading. And also, of course, make sure you hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. So let's talk about what I read in the month of February and how my reading challenge is going so far for this year here in 2023. So, of course, as noted in my previous wrap-up and might be read to be read videos, I got a little bit behind so far this year, but that's all right. I had some carryover from books I planned to actually read in the month of January that I didn't get to until the month of February. But here we are. We're able to get to some of the books in February that I'd planned to read and catching up from where I had left over in January. So let's start off with where am I so far in my annual reading challenge and how is that going? As of the day of filming, I have read so far 11 of 75 books for my planned reads for 2023. So I feel like I'm probably on track to hit my reading goals, although that has yet to be determined. But 11 books after 2 months, one of which being a short month, is still putting me on an average track of 5.5 books per month. I think last year I ended up doing about 7 books per month, so it seems my reading is going a little bit slower than it was last year, but I'm still pretty confident I'll hit that 75 goal by the end of the year. So with that in mind, let's talk a little bit about what did I read this month. So one of the books that I read this month was a carryover from January, a book I'd actually planned to read in January, but didn't get to it in January and ended up reading it in February. It was actually the January's Viewer's Choice Review, which went out on the channel just this past Friday. I will go ahead and link that below, or try to remember to link that below, or maybe in the cards above, but that book was Jim Butcher's The Furies of Calderon. So this is a new world created by Jim Butcher. It's a completely separate world from what he seems to be most famous for, which is the Dresden Files. This has to do with a world that uses elemental magic. And the Furies are kind of these elemental creatures that are bonded to different people. And depending on the type of Fury that you have will determine what type of powers you have from that. So, you know, there's water Furies and metal Furies and earth Furies and fire Furies and wind Furies. So it's kind of this earth elemental magic system, which is actually kind of a really cool magic system. I'll be honest, I read a lot of fantasy, but I haven't actually read a lot of books with a elemental magic system like we find in the Codex Alera by Jim Butcher. So I read the first book this month in the Codex Alera, The Furies of Calderon. Definitely check out my review, because I'll try to remember to link that in the cards or down below, somewhere in there. But that is one that I read in the month of February. One of the other books that I picked up in the month of February to read. Now this was the February's Viewer's Choice video pick. So as far as which books you wanted me to review. So stay tuned, the review for this book will be out shortly. I decided I'm going to go ahead and actually make sure that I read this book at the beginning of the month so that I don't miss out on actually reading it this month, as it is a viewer's choice. And that is Robin Hobb, Assassin's Apprentice. I've been hearing so much about Robin Hobb on BookTube, and I just had to go and check this out because so many people have talked about how great and amazing Robin Hobb is, and the Farseer world and everything else. I had to go check it out because it's been hyped so much. So stay tuned for my review on Robin Hobb, Assassin's Apprentice, first book in this Farseer trilogy. So definitely stay tuned for that. That is going to be coming out. I did enjoy my read, although I'll admit it didn't seem to live quite up to the hype that I've heard about it, but I did enjoy it nonetheless. So Robin Hobb, Assassin's Apprentice. One of the other books I finished up in the month of February, this is going to be a reread, going back to a story that I absolutely loved years and years and years ago. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I named 2 of my kids after characters from this story. Kaylin and Kara are named after characters from this book series. So I have completed my reread of the 3rd book of The Sword of Truth, The Blood of the Fold by Terry Goodkind. So this has to do with a group of terrorist extremists, essentially, who are hell-bent on destroying magic and eradicating it from the world. But admittedly, also, as I reread this series, I'm starting to see why so many people really don't like this series. Terry Goodkind is known for being Ayn Rand inspired, and that is his reputation anyway. I've never met the Terry Goodkind myself, so I don't know anything about him other than what rumor supposedly says about him. And at the end of the day, I'm finding that I can still enjoy an author's work quite a bit without necessarily agreeing with the underlying philosophy of the story, but I can definitely start to see why so many people have not liked his writing and why people think it's not that great, honestly. And I think it has more to do with the philosophy, the underlying philosophy of the books themselves. But overall, I'm still really enjoying Blood of the Fold by Terry Goodkind. Great read. I enjoy this series a lot, and I'm still enjoying my reread. Admittedly, not as much as I did the first time around, I do admit. I'm definitely starting to see where that controversy, I guess, comes from within his writing. One of the other books that I managed to finish up in the month of February was Foundation's Edge by Isaac Asimov. So I'm continuing on with my entire Foundation series read, and I'm hoping to do a full review on the Foundation series as a whole eventually once I'm done reading all the books in the Foundation series. There's 2 more left. So just Forward the Foundation and Foundation and Earth are the last ones left in this series, which I'm of course going to be getting to, so stay tuned once I complete those books for my review of the series as a whole. But I finished up Foundation's Edge in the month of February as well. I'm loving Isaac Asimov's massive, big scope thought ideas within this series, and really enjoyable. It's classic science fiction for a reason. So if you haven't checked it out and you're a sci-fi fan, definitely think it's worthwhile checking out for you for sure. One of the other books that I finished up in the month of February was the next Discworld book. This is from the Tiffany Aching arc in the Discworld series, and that is A Hat Full of Sky by Terry Pratchett. So this is another one of the witches books where Tiffany is effectively apprenticing herself to the witches to learn how to be a witch. I believe this is the second book in the Tiffany Aching story arc within Discworld. Pretty sure it's the second book in the Tiffany Aching story arc. If I'm wrong, correct me down below, of course. But yeah, Discworld, as always, is an entertaining, fun, and enjoyable read. Lots of humor mixed in with everything. I'm definitely enjoying it. So, Tiffany Aching, Hat Full of Sky, Discworld Book 2. Nice thing about Discworld is that they're short and easy read. I find they're a fantastic palate cleanser, which is why I've really been enjoying reading one Discworld per month. And the Tiffany Aching books specifically are unique in the Discworld universe in that they are the only books that actually have chapters. All the other Discworld books don't have any chapters. The whole book is one chapter basically. But Tiffany Aching books seem to be broken into chapters, which is a bit unique for Discworld. Kind of refreshing in a way for Discworld. One of the other books that I finished up in the month of February, this is a book that I'd bought a while ago, and I was really looking forward to reading this book because it is by an actor who played one of my favorite characters on one of my favorite TV shows. And that is Fan Fiction by Brent Spiner. This is kind of a memoir written more of a fictional story, but memoir at the same time. So it's a memoir inspired by true events. So this story is about Brent Spiner and his experiences portraying Data on Star Trek The Next Generation. And while he ends up having this fan that becomes this crazy lunatic stalker who is driving him up the wall, and he's literally going crazy and insane, and it actually is a pretty funny and entertaining book. I would definitely recommend it, especially if you're a Star Trek fan. Fan fiction is well worth reading, absolutely. I found it hilarious. Stay tuned because I may do a review on this. So stay tuned because you never know, you might see a full video review on Fan Fiction by Brent Spiner. But this was a fun and entertaining read. I loved it. I really did. It was so much fun to read. And I'm sure that you'll enjoy it as well if you pick it up. Even if you're not a Star Trek fan, this really gives a good insight into life as a celebrity in Hollywood. It was just fun all around. Fan fiction, Brent Spiner being stalked while portraying Data on Star Trek. We got a full list of Trek favorite characters in here as well. Characters who are also real people, by the way, which makes it that much more interesting and fun. And that brings us to, what am I currently reading right now as of the day of this video going out? So there are 2 books that I'm reading. One is going to be a book I completely forgot to add into my MBR/TBR for the month of February. which is just crazy. I can't believe I forgot to have this one in, but I did. And that is going to be the final in the Shannara books that have been published. The final one, it's the only Shannara book I haven't read, and that is going to be The Last Druid, the triumphant conclusion to the Shannara saga. So this is what I'm currently reading as of the day of this book going out. I'm really looking forward to reading this. I really enjoyed the Shannara Chronicles overall by Terry Brooks. There are so many books within this Shannara world, it's just crazy, but a lot of them are broken up into 3 or 4 book series independently, so it's not like it's 20 books that are all the same story. It's broken up into different series within the world of Shannara itself, ranging in different generations and different cast of characters in each set of series. But this is the book that I've been waiting to read for a while, and I forgot to include in my MBR TBR vid. And I didn't realize that until after it was too late. I can't believe I forgot to include it. But anyway, this is what I'm reading right now here at the end of February as we roll over into March. So, The Fall of Shannara, The Last Druid, the triumphant conclusion to the Shannara saga, the very last one. One of these days, I think I might try and go back and reread all the Shannara books. One of these days, we'll see. And then the last one that I am currently reading, this was a book that would have originally been scheduled, of course, for the month of March, as I am trying to do one reread with Audible every month. So I am continuing on with my reread of The Sword of Truth by Terry Goodkind. This month's book is Temple of the Winds. This is the one I'm working on as of the day that this video goes live into the month of March, and I'm sure I'll finish it sometime in the month of March. I will say this, I love the narrator on this one. I believe it's Greg Hill, I think it was his name. Anyway, I'm loving the audiobook narrator on this particular edition of Temple of the Winds, or at least the edition of the audiobook that I'm listening to as I read along with this book. It just brings so much life to one of the creepiest characters, in my opinion, in the entire Sword of Truth world, and that's Emperor Jigang, the Dreamwalker. I remember when I first picked up the Sword of Truth series and I first read about Emperor Jigang, he honestly terrified me. I had nightmares about Emperor Jigang. And now I am hearing him really brought to life through some just awesome voice acting in the audiobook version of this. And I am really enjoying it all around. And definitely, it's a whole different experience rereading through Audible as you read along with the book. I'm so glad that I'm doing that. And I'm really enjoying doing all my rereads in that fashion. It's a lot of fun. So I am reading Temple of the Winds along with Audible, Terry Goodkind's Sword of Truth, Book 4. And I look forward to finishing that up. I think probably at the end of my reread on this, likely closer to the end of the year, I'll probably look at doing a full series review for the Sword of Truth as a whole. So there you have it. There is what I read in the month of February, and I'm reading as we wrap February up. Let me know, how did your month go in February? How was your reading? Did you get through your entire TBR? I certainly didn't, but I was already behind. So there's still a few books that I didn't get to, but that's all right. But overall, I'm definitely enjoying reading all these books every month. That's what I do. I love it. That's why I got a whole channel about it. But anyway, let me know down below what you think. What did you read in the month of February? How's your TBR going? Are you meeting your reading goals and challenge? What's going on in your reading life? Let me know down below, or join me on Discord. You can join me over there as well. That'll be linked below, as well as Bookstagram and my link over to my hardcover profile, or you could join me over on Hardcover as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have yourself a great day, and as always, until next time, keep on reading. Bye!